welcome to another video for Auto Solutions Checkpoint, and this will be the final video, the final feature video for the Seat Exeo, because we're going to get the back brake discs and pads done. I've also got nice 3D plates that I got off eBay, and I'll put the link in the description so that you have it. And also we're going to MOT it, so I think any videos after that there will just be whenever it's been up for sale. But you guys stay tuned and watch closely. If you get any value from this here video, please like and subscribe, that would be greatly appreciated. Also, if you're working at the roadside, make life a little bit easier with yourself and clear your workspace. Once your workspace is all clear, you're going to jack it up on the jacking point and then put an axle stand underneath. So that's us on the jacking point. Also take the handbrake off whenever you're doing the back brakes as well. 17mm, and I highly recommend these Milwaukee impact sockets because they've got the plastic bit round it, which is a lot easier on the holes. See, whenever you're taking alloy wheels off, because you're less likely to mark the holes in the alloys. So put the wheel aside, make sure it's sitting somewhere that it's not going to get damaged. Just never sit them face down. Okay, the back of these, by the looks of it, is a 13mm, and the inner one possibly a 15. So 13 at the end, 15 in here for the slider. I'm assuming by the looks of this, the slider might need freed up. Hopefully I can remove the brake disc without removing the caliper housing. So, first problem I've encountered, it's a 13mm to take these calipers off. Bottom one comes off fine. The top one, it's a 13mm, but it doesn't want to be a 13mm. All my spanners are running loose on it. It doesn't want to be a 12mm because 12mm is too small. So it's basically in between the both of these, which I find weird. Which I think maybe somebody has put a bolt in it from the old school type of spanners. Which is a bit of a nightmare because you can't get in to get a socket over the top of it. There's not enough room, so you're subjected to using a spanner, and the spanner's just ringing on it. So this is problem number one, but I will overcome it. Okay, so what I've done, I don't know if you can see here, but see the way the outer one that I said to you was a 13, well the inside one is a 15, so I've managed to move it from side to side. Right, so I'm hoping that'll be enough to release the 13mm at the other side, but I'm definitely going to need to replace that 13mm on the other side, because that is an absolute nightmare. It's never a dull moment doing these things, I tell you. I'm just doing the bottom one first. I'll see if it even flips up, because if it flips up I'll be able to get the slider out and then I'll be able to tackle that where I can actually see it. But what a palaver, just to get a set of brake pads off. Well, them pads have not been off in a long while. Right, I'm going for my lever bar, I'm not pricking about. Also I think this here slider is seized, because whenever I go to move that, it's, I don't know, seems to be bending, which I really can't be having this. This is the stuff they never show you on wheeler dealers. You run into these problems. that's not wanting to go anywhere. So I think if I can't get this moving, I'm going to need to use the heat and try and get it out that way. But I hate using heat near the rubber. Hi, how are you?
Alright, how are you?
Oh, I've been better.
Oh no.
Is Mike kicking about? I might need a second opinion here. So, my caliper is seized.
Oh,
see this top?
completely.
See this top? Right?
The slider.
Yeah, it's seized. Now, to top that off, right, so if it are 13 mils, I'll check and see if this is this here recording. So, managed to get it with help from one of my friends, Michael. I didn't have a 1/2 inch spanner, and so he helped me persevere with it, and he managed to get it off. So, big shout out to Michael. So that's it, moving freely. Right, so there was still plenty of beef on them, but they do need change. Let's not get ourselves on here. Get the wee bases clean. See, I don't think I'm going to be lucky here, but I'll just try, just in case I can get this disc off without removing the caliper housing. Right, that's came loose. Lovely. Hi Magda, how are you? Not bad. Right, so that was pretty handy. Don't need to remove the caliper housing. I'll get these off. They're actually quite greasy. I'll put a wee bit of slip on them. Right, let's see. Right, perfect. Let's get this back on. So remember the wee retaining screw. Let's hope the other side isn't as harsh as this. But no, my luck, the kind of luck I have, I'll not be so lucky. Right, so see to put these here back on. Right, I've still got the 13mm, which was fine for the bottom, but the top, obviously I'm not going to reuse that again. But I've got this here steel Allen key end bolt, stainless steel, so it's not going to rot. I'll use it to hold it in. So now for the next trick, I'm going to get this caliper back. So over with the wind back tool. This is my broken wind back tool. You just got to get on with it. Right, I think this here will be the right end for it. Yeah, right, perfect. So you choose the end that you need. So your end goes in for each dial. There's no other way of doing these, so you do need the tool for doing it. If you are doing it yourself, you'll be able to get tools like this on eBay, no problem, cheap as chips. Just makes life a hell of a lot easier. And it means you're not depending on a garage to do it for you and charging you up the earth. I don't mind telling you all this here because I get enough work myself through my customers that trust in me. But obviously not everybody trusts garages and they like to do things themselves, so that was a bit tight. So what I'm going to do, now it's not seized, right, but it was tight. So what I'm going to do is take that off. I'm going to spray some WD-40 down because I want to get some WD-40 down to loosen up just in case there's any corrosion. And I was actually sitting thinking last night, what am I going to get? See, when I get rid of this, you know, what's going to be the next project for the channel? You know, I quite fancy a wee TT. Not the first shape, the second shape. But we'll see how things go, because I don't want to be throwing money away, and I know they're going for a pretty penny now. But obviously with the inflation of COVID and things like that, I think that's part of the reason why the vehicle prices have plummeted so high. Okay, so that's the caliper as far back as we can get it. Right, so let's go with the eBay pads. Right, and they look the same. And these are from a company called Allied Nippon, which I have heard of. And the discs are AB Techs. So as you can tell, I've been scrimping and scraping on this build, but after all, it's a budget build. Just bear in mind, I set out to get a car at £500 to do up. I ended up getting this for £300, so I'm capping it at £1,000, like in total spending. So if I don't spend anywhere near that, that's all good, because it'll all go towards the profit. Don't know if you can hear that, but that is BP in Grangemouth, and they do that siren every Monday. It actually sounds like an air raid, something from like the war. I can remember the first time I ever heard it. It actually freaked me out because I didn't know what it was, and I thought maybe we were under attack or something. That's another uninteresting fact that you can probably laugh at me because of. So they need to do these tests to make sure everything's working, because if that place was to ever blow up, like, we would be screwed. So there we go, one side done. Get some montage spray on it. There we go. Really nice. And doing that will stop the wheel from sticking. So if you get a puncture, your wheel will not be stuck on. So what a difference in comparison with the old scrappy discs. And they make the alloys look 100 times better, because this here was killing the look. Now, don't get me wrong, you could have maybe still got life out of these, you know, just sorting the disc out and getting the caliper working in that, but at the end of the day, brakes are safety, and you know, I wouldn't be happy with that. I really wouldn't. Not my watch. Hi Ross, how you doing? Not bad. Are you having a cheeky wee day off?
Bank holiday still.
Aye. I think bank holiday, but I've never experienced so many bank holidays in my life from I moved to Scotland.
No way.
I think Scotland have a bank holiday for everything.
I think this is a bit fun during this month, eh?
Aye. Mad. It's worse when the kids are off school on the bank holidays and all.
Just the way you get drunk from me as well, eh?
Need more. Well, I wasn't expecting you to go and get some diluting juice. I'm not saying you're predictable. I says I'm not saying you're predictable or anything. It's absolutely roasting the day. I think it's like 23 or 24 degrees like. Now, it's maybe not one of my best ideas to work in direct sunlight, but I'm not going to blood this year, so I may as well lap it up while it's here. I shan't complain, and you shan't hear me complaining. So hopefully this new side doesn't give me any trouble, because I really can't be dealing with it. Yay! Well, the top one's moved alright, and the slider is moving freely, so we'll see how we get on with the other one. It's good when things like this happen, and then you have to think negative. You're like, right, well, what's going to muck up the next time? But you know me, I drink from a glass half full. Hey, both sliders are moving fine. Hey, so that's promising. Hey, we're going to go for a hat trick here. You're going to witness Uncle Ty's doing a big hat trick. Maybe jam this here down in it. Hopefully it stops it. See how we get on with this. Yay, it's moving. So you have now witnessed Uncle Ty is doing a hat trick. So that's come off fine. So looks like I'm getting to my next job sooner rather than later. I think it was just mega unlucky with the other side, but it just goes to show that we do run into problems whenever working on vehicles. So, and that was a mild problem, because you do get a lot worse ones, especially see if you need to take a subframe or something off a vehicle. It's quite a common thing for the subframe bolt to snap, and then you're up shit creek with a paddle. Like, fair enough, don't get me wrong, there's ways round to sort it, but it's just harder, you know, because not everybody's got access to a welder or things like that. Flipping desperate to take my top off. I'm not going to do that for you guys. I'll not put you through that. You definitely don't want to see my boobies. For standard font as well, I actually quite like that. Okay, so that's the plates on, the arch is sorted, the back brake's done. So I'm just going to take it a wee run. Obviously once you've done the back brakes, make sure you pump the pedal before you move, okay? Because you don't want any frights. Just say for instance you need to brake very quick, you're not going to have brakes. So make sure you pump the brakes before you move anywhere first. Look at my face, I'm mocking it. Starting to get my wee beardy back. Right. I suppose it would help if it was in reverse. I'm actually going to move off in first gear to reverse. Right, very good. Then brakes are spot on. Let's see the handbrake. Spot on. I've lost about 10 stone in sweat working outside in that sunlight. My ears will probably be burnt because I had my back to the sun. Them brakes are spot on. And see, because the car has no bangs or anything no more, everything's spot on. I think the MOT tester will be quite happy with this. Oh Jenny, don't be hasty. Don't go treat me like a baby. Hey, I think I'm going to need to quickly jump into the house and get a wash, because I'm sweating and my first job is at 1 o'clock. Oh, better go and get myself spruced up a wee bit. So with the MOT date fast approaching this Saturday, I'm going to give the car a service before it goes so that it is tip top. And then also it means for whoever buys the car, they're not needing to service it for another 10-15,000 miles or whatever. So it's a good selling point. At least it'll be getting done properly. I just had a look through the service history of that vehicle, and it does have a service history. The first 3 services were done by Arnold Clark, and then the rest has been individual garages. So that's another way of looking at it. It's quite a well looked after vehicle mechanically. So we'll just get this ready for a service, get the filter out of it. We'll be doing the filter, oil filter, air filter, pollen filter, and change the oil today. I'm going to perform a flush on this as well, just for good measure, because it's such a good running engine. at least it'll be done right. Take the cover off. I think this here can be off. So if only all cars were as easy as this here to take the air filter off. It's not too bad, it's just manky. There we go. Now just persevered with that because I want this to be nice and clear for putting the new one on it. This is a thing when people are servicing these things, they don't give as much attention to detail with that. Just give it a little brush out. What I like about doing the pollen filter on these here things, you can do everything you need under the bonnet and underneath. So just take this off. These two little clips, just clip up and clip this out. These are like the wee breathers that you put on the battery. So pull that out towards you. Now look at that. Now I would say in all the service history that this has had, right, but it's been serviced every year, the pollen filter has not been touched. Yeah, well, I don't think it has been touched from Arnold Clark, who's doing the servicing, because that's an original Audi one. It's not the worst I've seen, but at the same time, look at that. It's absolutely bogging. You can appreciate the reason for having these, because if you didn't have this, all this stuff would be getting into your lungs and making a mess inside your car. So there you go. Hopefully that explains to you why they're important. Right, so we've got the air filter out of it, pollen filter out of it. Going to do a flush. So I'm just going to put some diesel in with the oil to do the flush. And then take the oil filter off. And we will be doing a fuel filter today as well. In order to do the diesel flush, I've got about 500ml of diesel, just fresh diesel. I'm going to put it in the oil filler. The next thing I'm going to do is start it and run it for approximately 3 to 4 minutes and let it sit. Then drain the oil. This will thin the oil down and basically get into bits that have maybe been clogged up. Found a little bit of wildlife here. The spider that was living in the engine bay. Okay, so that's been running for approximately 4 minutes in total. Also, we're going to do the fuel filter as well. That's quite a long one. Usually whenever I'm doing these here, it's always like a fuel filter here. This you want to put one up there. Okay, so what you want to do is leave it for maybe another couple of minutes, and then that will allow all the oil to kind of seep down off everything at the top. And whenever you're draining it, because you've done such a flush, take your time draining it. You know, put a bucket underneath, make sure it's going to catch it no matter what angle it goes, and just go and get a cup of tea and chill out for a half an hour. Just let it drain all the oil out of it before you put the new stuff in. And then that means whenever you put the new stuff in, whenever you go to dip it, you'll see it's a nice, like honey or syrup looking oil. See, instead of treacle. It's just nice if somebody's going to look at the car and they check the oil and they see it's nice. You know, because see it, what I find, see whenever customers don't request getting a flush, you know, and I suggested to them, they're like, oh no, don't worry about it. It just means your brand new oil is getting kind of mixed in with this darker stuff and it just doesn't look as good. Okay, so we're now underneath it. I was going to take the sump guard off, but I'm having a look and some absolute butcher has cut this area out just to save them taking this off to do an oil change. Some say it's genius, some say it's just, there should have been a butcher. but at least it'll allow me access in and get the sump bung off. The actual sump bung looks like it has been maybe they've used a different size spanner for getting it off because it's kind of wrung at the sides. 19mm. Right. I think that sump bung was over tightened. Aye, it's not a very good idea what they've done, because that oil has now went over here. Absolute bloody clowns. I'm raging. Absolutely raging. Okay, so I've decided after that technical hitch, this sump guard is coming off. Now, in here it's just sitting, oil is just sitting inside it. So this is going to be very, very messy getting that off. But there's not a lot I can do. There really isn't. So annoyed. Why would somebody do that? Oh, aye, in theory it seems like a good idea, but this is, I'm so annoyed. I'm so annoyed right now. Everything's coming off it. They've tie wrapped that on as well. This is really not what I was wanting to be doing today. What an absolute tube. Right, so that is off, and that is never going back on again. You would never do that and leave something like that on knowing that it's going to do that. That is just bad crack. The floor is such a mess, but I'm just going to need to cross that bridge when I get to it. Right, so just generally let it sit for about half an hour. Go and get yourself a cup of tea. Let that drain out. So obviously you still need to get the oil filter off as well. So disgusted of whoever it was that done the work on this before. What a nasty piece of work. Okay, now to get the oil filter off. Now, if you're wondering where the oil filter is on the Seat Exeo or the Audi A4, or basically any of the ones with the 2-litre TDI engine, it's a 32mm socket. Okay, so all the parts have arrived to do the service. Jesus, that's tight. That is so tight. Oh no. I can see this going peak tongue. Right, we've got it moving. By the sound of it, it's not snapped. Oh wow, that was so tight. That was as tight as a Scottishman. Right, so as you can see, the condition of the oil filter Now that is roughly about 10,000 miles. So you can see the importance of getting these changed. Okay, always remember whenever you're doing the oil filter to change the little rubber seal around it, and I've used a pick. Okay, so we've got a nice new one. Just run it around, make sure it's all seated in properly. Get your new oil filter, that clips in. So it does, so wait till you hear the wee clip, like that. Right, and then that's you ready to go in. Now they've got a wee rubber O-ring already on them, right, just in case you're looking for it. I'm just putting it in hand tight and then do the rest with the ratchet. Okay, that's nice and tight. So we're now ready for the pulling filter. Right, so airflow pointing down. Try my best not to handle it too much with the other hand because it's covered in oil. Okay, 10mm to release the fuel filter protection cover. I'll just demonstrate. Fuel flow goes that way. Now, whenever I'm doing these, I like to fill the filter full of diesel, right, and then keep it covered. And then whenever I clip it back on again, I quickly take my finger away and feed it in, so it's still full of diesel. And then when I put the other side in as well, then it's just a case of turning the key a couple of times and then that gets rid of it. Because it's like a direct ejection, it gets the air out of the system. It just means it starts. Just getting these used to moving. I want to be taking this here one off first so that I can kind of make less mess. Okay, so there's one on. Okay, so I'm going to go over and get this filled up with some fresh diesel and then get it put back on again. We've already got it filled up roughly till about here, so you can feel it. That's us definitely full. Okay, so notice I still have the cap at the bottom. I've kept that cap on whenever I've been filling this up. Okay, so we'll get this here side plugged back on. So that's it back on, right, and then you just need to put this side back on, and then it means there's minimum mess, because I've seen people doing this here before and there's diesel all over the place. At least this way it's kept nice and tidy, methodical. Now whenever you're doing the 2-litre TDI Exeo or possibly the Audi, even Golfs, Polos, anything that has this type of engine, just double check. But these double overhead cam ones are 4.3 litres of oil. I use 5/30, which is the recommended type. I'm just going to put it in. Now I've had to put it in a smaller drum so that I can put it in no problem, because I've got the big 20-litre one. I buy them in bulk. So the 20-litre one's just a bit awkward to use, so I just distributed it into a 5-litre. 4.3 litres. Now bear in mind, this is 0/30. This isn't what I'm using, but you can use 0/30. I'm just using the tub that it's in. I'm using 5/30. I've got it measured out exactly 4.3 litres. It's 4.3 litres exactly. So I'm going to turn the key a couple of times without starting it, just to make sure there's diesel flow. I'm just about to start it, okay? Now notice the way that took a wee bit to start because of that slight wee air pocket that was in the fuel filter. So basically that's it being forced out, rather than a big airlock. There's no way of telling with the fuel filter by looking at it that it's dirty inside. You can only really tell if the car starts running funny that it needs changed. I'm satisfied with the result, and at least it'll be all ship shape for its MOT and getting advertised, because it will be getting advertised next week. I'm just going to put it up for £2.5 grand. So you know what I paid for it, you know what I've spent on it, and you know the time I put into it as well. At £2.5 grand, somebody will be getting a really nice car, and at least it's been well maintained. It has been well maintained mechanically. I'll have to hand it to them. It's been well maintained mechanically. However, I dare say it's seen many valets. Well, good morning, auto saluters. We're on our way to the MOT with the Seat Exeo. So that's the first MOT of the day. Had a bit of a problem with the brake light and sorted it, and then it was coming up a problem with the number plate bulbs. Number plate bulbs, when I had a look, were on, but they were very, very faint. So I installed LEDs just in the meantime, because it was too early. None of the motor factors are open to get the bulbs. Then we torpedo bulbs. Nobody's open yet because it's that early in the morning. So I've just installed little LEDs so that they're working and they're nice and bright. The only thing is the light on the dash, obviously on like Audi's, Volkswagen, Seat and Skoda, it comes up. It looks like an upside down bulb with a cross through it, so it indicates there's a bulb fault somewhere. It is only coming up because I've got LED lights at the back, so basically I'm damned if I do, damned if I don't. But at such short notice, I've got them on because it's better them all working than going to an MOT and them no passing because they're too dim. On the motorway, this isn't missing a beat. You can take my hands off the steering wheel and it's just going in a straight line. It's very, very quiet. The only road noise that I've got is, do you remember the regulators away on this? Well, you need to push it up with your hands. It's just not up far enough, so you're getting a little bit of road noise coming in where the wind deflectors are. But yeah, very satisfying inside. You know, it's just minimum. There's nothing really to fault, just apart from that noise you can hear. So this will do somebody really, really nice whenever it goes to sell it, because you have followed me on this journey and you've seen what it was like when I first got it. Just seeing a handful of hot rods going past. There must be some kind of American made today. The wee van, the Citroen Berlingo that I sold through the week, has got its MOT today. So if it needs anything, I've already promised the person that's bought it, if it fails on anything today, I'm going to be fixing it straight away, so that there's no faults whatsoever with the wee van. So guys, wish me luck. It's that time again. Such a nervous feeling whenever you're going to take cars for an MOT.
2 hours later.
Well guys, you can tell with the big teaser on my face, it's passed. Whoa! Over the moon. MOT test, I was actually quite surprised of how nice the vehicle was. That's good enough for me. At least I know I've done something good with the car, and I've saved it from the scrap. You know, initially that customer was wanting this car scrapped, so I bought it, and then it meant I could do whatever I wanted with it. Also sent her pictures yesterday of the car with everything I've done to it, and she actually replied that she's glad that the car was able to get turned around and live to see another day. It's good to see something happening with it, because at the end of the day, she's had it from brand new. She absolutely loved that car, but obviously when all them things started to go wrong with it, she fell out of love with it, and now she's seen the car brought back to its former glory and made even better. So to me, that's a job well done, and I can pat myself on the back for that. But anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and again, if you already are subscribed, thank you very much for contributing to the channel, because the end of the day, without you, my channel can't grow. And I know most of you, because there's more people that aren't subscribed watching me than are subscribed, please consider thumping that subscribe button. It doesn't cost you a penny. Just thump the subscribe button and you can stay tuned to any of my projects coming up in the future. But you guys, you take care, and I'll catch you in the next video. 1010 over and out. Woohoo! Over the moon. Let's get this up for sale. Take care. Bye bye.